Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette and part 4 of our steak guide series. Today I'll show you how I make compound butter from scratch, which is really delicious on a nice piece of steak. So first of all, what is compound butter? In Germany, it's very popular for steaks and it's called Kraiter Butter, which means as much as herb butter. It basically consists of a high fat content butter because typical butter in Germany or in France has a higher fat content than, for example, in the US. So you always want to start with either European butter or European style butter. Why? Because fat absorbs flavor and enhances them, and that's what you want on your steak. So the first step, I simply chunk up the butter and let it sit outside of the fridge so it can soften, so I can easily mix it up later. Now it's time to get some fresh herbs. We always keep some around in our garden, and for a compound butter, I really like chives, thyme, oregano, sage, dill as well. At the end of the day, you can really do it with all kinds of herbs. It's just important that they're fresh. If you use dry herbs, they're not flavor intense enough. If you use frozen herbs, they're simply too moist, which is not good for the butter. So only go with fresh ones. All I do now is to use a sharp chef's knife and really finely chop up my herbs. Usually for a stick of butter, I get a good handful of herbs. Now I add a pinch of mesquite smoked salt to it and a little bit of Hungarian paprika. Don't overdo it, you don't want it to be a dominant taste, but just a side flavor of the compound butter. My secret ingredient for the butter is fish sauce because it adds that savory umami flavor that makes things taste so good. Finally, I chop up a small clove of garlic. Alternatively, I could also add a little bit of shallot because that rounds out the flavor of the butter. Once it's all minced up, I add it to the bowl and stir it with a wooden spoon, trying to mash it up so everything is evenly distributed. By now, the butter should be noticeably softer, so you can easily mix everything up so you create that evenly green mass. Once everything is evenly mixed, I get out a piece of parchment paper and put the butter in the middle. Now I simply twist the ends so I create a little log that almost looks like a sausage. At this point, the butter is relatively soft and I add it back to the fridge so it can harden again. Later on, when your steak is ready, you can simply cut little rounds off of it and add them on top of the steak, and it will melt slowly and create an additional flavor enhancement for your steak. That being said, compound butter never goes unused in our household because we use it to saute things, maybe eat it on bread, so it's really something that you can make a lot of. I find that it gets better the older it gets, and so it's just always something you can have in your fridge without worrying about it getting too old. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the other videos in our steak guide, such as how to buy a steak or how to cook a steak to perfection. In today's video, I'm wearing a typical steak grilling outfit consisting of a blue polo shirt with long seersucker pants and Sperry boat shoes in navy and burgundy.